Yo, the largest asset manager in the world just said what we've been feeling at this point in the cycle. All of us have been feeling. The price should be way higher, but it's not. BlackRock said the demand they're seeing isn't reflected in the Bitcoin price. And then hours later, Bitwise, one of the largest and oldest Bitcoin index funds, just said that the Bitcoin price should be at least $200,000 today. And Samson Mao agreed, of course. What exactly is BlackRock and these institutional asset managers seeing behind the scenes that we're not seeing? Today, we're going to be exploring whether this Bitcoin bull run has topped out or is just getting started. And of course, we apologize for the delay. We had some issues with our streaming software, but we're happy that we got it resolved. Anyways, joining us on the show today, we have Dylan and Tyler. Dylan and Tyler are with an awesome Bitcoin event space in Denver. It's called Denver's Bitcoin Citadel, and the name of the space is called The Space. Anyways, guys, no more delay. Let's jump into a couple of these clips that unload everything. And of course, to my right is my beautiful wife, Internet Sophie, joining me in the co-host seat today, replacing Opti for just a day. But anyways, guys, let's check out this clip and then we'll talk about it. Here we go.
There has been so much fundamentally positive news, and it's just been buried sort of in the background. We've caused ourselves to ignore it. There's the strategic Bitcoin reserve. There's the SEC pulling back on essentially every lawsuit. There's progress on stablecoin legislation. There's talk of market structure legislation. There was the White House crypto summit. These are game-changing positive developments that should put Bitcoin trading at $150,000 or $200,000 today. It's been suppressed because in the short term, this overhang of the economic uncertainty is weighing on the markets. I think if that is released, we're at new all-time highs quickly, and we're on our way to where I think we'll be at the end of the year, which is Bitcoin 200,000. So I think there's been this sort of suppression of really good news. If that suppression is removed, I think it's a coiled spring. So in that scenario, I think we do exceptionally well.
Is there anything else that needs to happen to get us to Bitcoin at 200K by the end of the year?
I don't think so. You have these three horsemen of insatiable demand for Bitcoin. You have ETFs, which I continue to think will have strong net flows this year. You have companies. We saw MicroStrategy buying more Bitcoin. I think the number of companies buying Bitcoin is going to triple this year. I think the game theory is on. It's slower than people maybe want in this impatient crypto world, but I think countries around the world are going to be buying Bitcoin. So there is structurally more demand than supply in Bitcoin. I think all we need is to release this sort of economic gloom that's hanging over us. If we
All right, everybody. It seems like, again, we're having issues on YouTube. Seems like we're not being able to stream on YouTube as of yet. Guys, we are working on it in the background. Like I said, our streaming software is having some issues these days. But I mean, there you had the Bitwise CEO. We are streaming on YouTube. Just confirmed it on the back end. Guys, sorry, we had some streaming issues with our software in the background today, and we're trying to fix it live. So it's a little bit complicated. But we just played you guys a clip of the Bitwise CEO basically saying we should be at least $200,000 Bitcoin. It's not happening. It hasn't happened. I think a lot of people are feeling a little bit underwhelmed today, including, Michael Saylor. I mean, Michael Saylor, we played you guys a clip of him yesterday or over the week, him at the Future Proof conference here in Miami Beach. And he's basically saying, like, look, the macro conditions, people are a little bit spooked. They're off assets. They're not feeling them. But when the tides change, he expects Bitcoin to rip. And there you have, the CEO of a very large company basically saying the same thing. And also you have someone from BlackRock saying the same thing as well. I'm going to play you guys a clip and then we'll all discuss it as a panel. Let's check it out.
For more, we're bringing in Robbie Mitchnick, Global Head of Digital Assets at BlackRock, which of course has the biggest ETF that is pegged to Bitcoin. Robbie, it's good to see you, first of all. I guess, first of all, if you can help us set the scene by explaining perhaps why Bitcoin has not done better, right? There were so many hopes pinned on this White House, the big vibe shift, deregulation, and we have seen some actual concrete moves in that direction, but we haven't seen price follow. Why not?
Sure. Well, I think it's important to take some time perspective on it, right? Which is Bitcoin is still up, let's call it 15% or so since the beginning of November, right? So you saw a pretty extraordinary rally, right into the end of 2024. You've seen Bitcoin, the crypto market, give some of that back. I think that there were maybe accelerated, perhaps premature expectations of just how quickly some of these catalysts would start to arrive. Our focus now, as we look at what's to unfold in 2025, is more about the pace of institutional and wealth advisory adoption, which has showed, frankly, a lot of momentum coming into 2025, and that hasn't really abated even in this price environment.
So I'm interested, given that, what do Bitcoin ETF flows look like? What have they looked like? What do you expect ahead?
Yeah, well, obviously 2024 was pretty incredible, pretty historic on that front. 2025 to start has been more negative. We've seen some outflows in the category, relatively modest in the context of the overall asset base, which is close to 100 billion. Just over a year into their existence. A lot of that outflow that we've seen so far seems to be a little bit of hedge fund unwinding of the spot futures arbitrage trade, and less so in sort of the more long buy and hold directional investors that make up the fund. So you've seen the yields that hedge funds were clipping in that trade, go from double digits to low single digits, and that's, I think, a lot of what's driven some of the outflows we've seen.
Robbie, as you know, there are a lot of different reasons that people buy and hold Bitcoin. But as you also know, it's frequently referred to as digital gold, right? A store of value. Here we are in a period of time where people are feeling nervous about the economy, and it's not performing like gold. Gold is performing like gold. People are buying gold, but they're not buying Bitcoin. Can you help explain what's going on there?
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating thing, Julie. What we've seen is, if you look at Bitcoin fundamentally on a long-term basis, it really seems like an asset that should be uncorrelated or even inversely correlated against certain risk factors that exist, right? But there are periods where it does have these short-term correlation spikes. And what's interesting is, some of what we've seen lately seems to be self-fulfilling and actually a self-inflicted wound by some of the research and commentary that the industry does, leaning into this idea of it as a risk-on asset at times, which really doesn't make a lot of fundamental sense. When you think about what it is, it's a global, scarce, non-sovereign, decentralized asset that exists.
I'm going to stop it right there. By the way, it seems like the YouTube stream dropped today again. It seems like our streaming software is having an issue. But the good news is we are live on X and we are live on Rumble. So you guys could catch today's show on Rumble and X Live. And we will re-upload the full version later today on YouTube. So if you guys are on YouTube, you can watch it there. Anyways, if you guys are enjoying the show so far, almost 1,000 live viewers despite all the technical difficulties, smash the like button. I mean, so many people have different reasons, right? The Bitwise CEO is basically talking about, hey, look, like, I don't understand. I don't get it. This thing should be at 200K. Also, if you take a look at the comments, Samson Mao agreed. He said, we both agree it should be at, I love how Samson puts it, at 0.2 million by now. I 100% agree with that. So yeah, I mean, without a doubt, I think a lot of people are, a little bit disappointed with Bitcoin's current performance, especially in this cycle. I remember I was talking to some of our guests today, specifically Tyler. Tyler, this is your first bull run. I feel like you're like, oh man, this is not what I was promised. This is not what I was expecting. So what's your take on all this, Tyler? Are Bitcoin's best days behind it?
Best days are not behind it, first and foremost. Excited to be here. This is my first bull run, so I don't really have any context. Missed out on the rips in 2017 and whatnot. But, my impression of all this is the people who expected all these things, all this winning to happen, right? The strategic Bitcoin reserve, fair asset accounting, etc. They bought the market predicting this early on. And so when it was all announced, there was literally no one else that was like, oh, shocked by this news. It had already happened. It was already being expected. So maybe they sold the top, the 100K. They took their whatever gains, their 50% returns, a lot of those ETF asset holders. That would be my prediction. And there's just nothing else guys like me can do. My checking account already has $0 in it, and my credit card balance is negative. So what am I supposed to do?
100%. And you're doing it the right way, right? My checking account is negative. I can't buy any more Bitcoin. That's the way. That's the right way to do it. Everyone pays their dues. You have to do that as a Bitcoiner. If you don't have any overdraft fees, you haven't done it right. Anyways, I'm going to pass it on to Dylan. Dylan, thank you so much for joining us today. A little bit of a technical difficulty before we went on air. We are live on Rumble. We are live on X. YouTube seems to be down. Sorry, guys. Our streaming software literally dropped the ball right before we hit the live button. So, Dylan, what is your take on all this?
Well, first off, I think Restream is just trying to keep the signal low, and block out all the streams. But I don't know. Personally, I hate the ETFs. I think they are kind of detrimental to Bitcoin in that they could kill mining in a sense. If a bunch of on-chain activity moves to ETFs, it's essentially the worst version of an exchange. I think right now it's just a great time to continue learning about Bitcoin and, diving into the fundamentals and kind of just staying away from the noise. I agree we should be much higher, but there's more sellers than buyers right now, unfortunately. Although I think it should be the other way around. That's why we have, community spaces like The Space to teach people about Bitcoin and custody their own keys and stay out of the ETFs and just, stack sats.
100%. Stay humble, stack sats. And do you think that's what it is? Do you think that there's just more sellers than buyers? It's a little strange that, Bitcoin's price action is doing this specifically on the day that, a week after we're finding out that the U.S. government has every intention to make a Bitcoin strategic reserve and also buy additional Bitcoin. Do you have a take on that?
Options markets are way beyond my head. So who knows what's going on with CME stuff going on and just people shorting it, people going long. Unfortunately, our whole system is a big black box that you don't get to see through the other side. You don't know what the other teams are doing. So it's anyone's guess. I don't really have a good take on that. Just the best thing we can do is custody your own coins, get off exchanges, get out of ETFs, use Unchained so you have real Bitcoin and not potentially paper Bitcoin.
Absolutely. Real Bitcoin is Bitcoin in self-custody. I'm going to pass it on to Sophie. Sophie, what's your opinion on all this?
I actually never considered Dylan's opinion here, which is that ETFs might be taking off some of the trading action on chain. And that's actually a very good point because a lot of the people who are buying ETFs are these, older Gen X or boomers who might have a little bit more of disposable income who, instead of buying on chain and actually moving the price of Bitcoin there are, basically buying fake Bitcoin through traditional finance. At first, I thought, it's good because it'll get people exposed. It gets their feet wet, it gets their feet in the water. But ultimately, that might actually be the reason that the price isn't moving up. What it could also indicate is this is something that you and I have talked about, which is the end of cycles. Maybe this means that instead of seeing that 300x or 300%, 3x, which we usually see in the cycles, we're only going to see a 50% increase over time, which is great news for hodlers and people who are actually saving in Bitcoin. It's great news for Bitcoin adoption in the long run, but it just means that we're going to have to be a little bit more patient as Bitcoiners and not expect this thing to rip, as soon as possible.
100%. I think that's a great point. Anyways, guys, let us know in the comments what you guys think, specifically on Rumble. Do you guys think that the Bitcoin bull run is over? It's done. It got cut up short. Do you think it's still going to keep going? Do you think this is the end of cycles? Let us know your thoughts in the X chat or in the Rumble chat. But anyways, guys, we have a jam-packed show for you guys. So much to cover, so much to unpack. We have a video of AmericanHODL basically saying, fuck the price. You shouldn't be paying attention to the price. He feels as bullish as ever. And so we have an update for you guys regarding Bolivia and Russia. Seems like Bolivia is following in the footsteps of Russia and using Bitcoin for energy imports. I think this is a trend they're going to continue to see all around the world. And of course, during the culture segment, we're going to be talking to our guests today about what they're doing in Denver. They're absolutely building something called The Space, and it's Denver's Bitcoin Citadel. So if you guys ever went to Bitcoin Park in Nashville, it's something very similar, but in the city of Denver. So it's going to be a great show. So guys, sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. But before we jump into today's show, I do want to give a shout out to Simply Bitcoin's lead sponsor, the best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack, bitcoinwell.com. If you scan the QR code on your screen right now, it will take you directly to bitcoinwell.com. And if you use promo code simplybtc when you're signing up, you get 3 tosses into the Bitcoin wishing well for an opportunity to win up to 1 million Satoshis. Buy real Bitcoin, enable your independence with the fastest and safest way to buy Bitcoin on chain or via Lightning Network in Canada and the USA. To get started, you put in your email address, takes 2 to 5 minutes to sign up. And what makes Bitcoin Well different is that it's a completely non-custodial platform. Also, if you're a higher net worth individual looking to buy $50,000 worth of Bitcoin or more, check out Bitcoin Well Infinite. To get started, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. And if you live in the United States and you want to get paid in Bitcoin, check out their new feature. Americans can now get paid in Bitcoin sent directly to their personal Bitcoin wallet. Share your Bitcoin Well direct deposit details with your employer. Set your Bitcoin/dollar split and receive sats instead of fiat with every paycheck. Guys, head over to bitcoinwell.com/simply to get started today. All right, everybody, let's hit the numbers. We have tons to talk about.
I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, Stampseed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed words really secure? Stampseed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of writing them down on paper. Don't do that. Paper sucks. You want to literally stamp your seed into this plate of titanium. Your words are actually stamped into the metal plate with this hammer. So once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and your pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and most importantly, because this is generational wealth, time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin for the long haul. I mean, here is the plate that they crushed. They put in water, they put a blowtorch to it, and as you can see, the words have survived. Stamp your seed on Stampseed. And you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their store. Head over to stampseed.com today.
All right, everybody, we are back. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $84,640. Block height, 888,505. Sats per dollar, 1,181. Market cap, 1.68 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 7.85%. Percentage issued, 94.47%. Decline from all-time high, negative 22.4%. Realized monetary inflation, 0.92%. Scan the QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you directly to the Stampseed website where you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their website. Anyways, I want to play you guys this epic video from AmericanHODL because I know you guys are all feeling what we're feeling. Just come on, the price action absolutely sucks ass. Let's see what AmericanHODL has to think.
Yo, we're running up the score. Hey, Fuck the fact that the price is 86K. It doesn't fucking matter. Where we're going, we don't need fucking roads. All right, the price is going to 860,000, and it's going to 8.6 million. Then it's going to 86 million. You think I give a fuck? If you don't have a Bitcoin, you can get one now for the price of a Mercedes. All right? A lot of you have a fucking Mercedes or a BMW, and you don't have a fucking Bitcoin. A lot of you have a Cybertruck, and you don't have a fucking Bitcoin. A lot of you have a fucking shitty condo and you don't have a Bitcoin. A lot of you have a 401k and you don't have a Bitcoin. Price of Bitcoin's only 86K, bitch. The SBR just fucking launched. You got an SBR. The price has already been over $100,000 before. The price is going to $1 million. BlackRock is telling you it's going to $700,000. BlackRock is adding percentage allocations to all of their portfolios, and you don't want to buy a fucking Bitcoin. I have no sympathy for you, dude. Don't come back to me in 20 years and tell me that I have shit that you should have. You don't have anything that you didn't deserve. You have exactly what you deserve, and so do I. Fix your fucking life. Buy your fucking Bitcoin. 86K, SBR, it's on sale. Ross Ulbricht's out of prison. We can do whatever the fuck we want. We're going to run the table for the next 30 years. Nobody can stop us. It's Bitcoin forever, motherfucker. Everything we do is going to succeed. Everything we do is going to succeed. Oh, we were a factor in this election? We're about to be a factor in every fucking election. Forever, till the end of time. 1,000 years. Bitcoin, 1,000 years. Fuck with us.
I mean, that makes me feel incredibly bullish. The community reacted super well. I'm going to pass it on to Sophie. Sophie, you seem touched by what Mr. HODL said.
I was very touched when I saw this video. Actually, it lifted my spirits so much. And this is my official petition. All of the super cool Bitcoin DJs out there, please sample this. Please put this in a song, because that's just like, it's so moving what he said. And it took my head out of the gutter. And it was like, yeah, actually, everything that you just said. Yeah, actually, what am I worrying about again? I'm like dreaming of 100K Bitcoin again. And I'm like, damn, it sucks. Like, we're not there, but who cares? We're post SBR. Ross is free. We're about to hit $8.6 million Bitcoin. Maybe not now, but like in a couple, eventually, because that's just the nature of Bitcoin. The nature of Bitcoin is to go up and to the right forever. So watching that video just put my worries at ease, and I'm sure that it lifted a lot of Maxi spirits out there.
100%. I think that's an incredible take by Internet Sophie. I'm going to pass it on to our guests. I'm going to start with you, Tyler. Tyler, what are your thoughts on HODL's wisdom? Because that's really what it was. It was HODL's wisdom. Tyler.
I love that clip. It makes me think of that moment in Talladega Nights where Ricky Bobby's like, I don't know what to do with my hands when he wins, and he's just like trying to, he's supposed to talk in front of the crowd. That's us. We're getting everything we want, right? All the stuff that Sophie just outlined. It's like, what are we complaining about? Also, I love that clip because I drive a shitty 30-year-old pickup truck, so it makes me feel like I'm on the right track personally.
I think you're doing it right, bro. You're doing it the Bitcoin way, right? Which is just, you stay humble, stack sats, live below your means, and stack as much Bitcoin as humanly possible. I'm going to pass it on to Dylan. Dylan, what are your thoughts on that epic clip from AmericanHODL?
I mean, just like inject that energy into my veins. How can you not be bullish right now? Like, I know price action is boring, but I think I'm numb to it at this point. I've ridden up, ridden down, and now I'm just stacking sats about it. Like, the only thing I care about is that we have enough sats to pay rent at the space. But beyond that, I really don't care. Everything will come eventually. Like, why are you complaining that you're getting sats for a discount right now when we all know we should be higher based on all the news that's happening? So
the ultimate low time preference. I 100% agree, man. It's the opportunity of a lifetime, like you said, man. And it's very, very exciting times. And I agree. I agree with HODL. We're gonna win. We're gonna win so hard, and it's gonna go to 800K, then it's gonna go to 8 million. I think a lot of us, had expectations that Bitcoin would be a lot higher by now, and I think that's where a little bit of the frustration comes into play. And again, if you do the comparisons between the previous cycles and the current cycle, then you see like, there are major differences. Like you can't deny that, right? But I think this is kind of like the name of the game. A lot of people are theorizing. I'm going to get your guys' takes on this. I'm going to get my wife's takes on this after this too. Like, are the cycles over? Tyler, I'm going to pass it on to you.
I've been wondering about that. I think we really won't know until the next bear, because with the ETF, with the likes of the ETF, like, okay, it's the inflow of capital is much easier, but that also means the outflow is much easier as well. So I don't know how that will play out. I do think that there is kind of this asymptotic, decay return. So the gains each cycle should kind of reduce over time as each cycle plays out. Eventually, that might just reflect a cycle that doesn't look like a cycle at all, right? So as Sophie was saying earlier, eventually it may just look like you can't distinguish like a repetitive 4-year pattern anymore. I don't know if we're there yet, though. We'll have to see after this bear.
I don't know. Maybe it's the start of a new bear. Dylan, what's your take on this? Are you taking the HODL approach, or are you taking the, what the F? We should be a lot higher by now.
I mean, yes to both. I would be really content with just like a slow climb. Like blow off tops are awesome, but if we just have a slow climb, that lessens the chance of a 50% drop, which would hurt a little more now that I'm fully Bitcoin. But beyond that, I mean, I think Tyler's right that cycles are dead, or might be dead. I want to look back at like 2017 cycle and be like, yeah, that's coming. But I don't know. I think with more adoption, that kind of lessens the blow off top and gets us more to gradual and less suddenly, unfortunately.
Yeah, 100%. Unfortunately, yeah, I agree with you. But we all could be wrong here, because this also reminds me of, this is giving me 2017 vibes. If any of you guys were around for 2017, it was very, very similar. I know, Sophie, you were around for 2017, and it was the beginning. The January, February was extremely boring. Like it was extremely boring. Nothing was happening. January, February, March. The price, it had volatility, but it was hanging around the 1K region, right? And it wasn't until like it wasn't until like mid-year that things started picking up. And then by the end of the year, you saw bang, $20,000 Bitcoin. If I would have told you that in the beginning of January, the beginning of 2017, you would not have believed me. You would have been like, you are crazy. What do you mean a 20x? That is absolutely nuts. So I think everything is aligning, everything's fitting into place. And I think that's where you hear the frustration from the Bitwise CEO. That's why Michael Saylor is saying what he's saying. That's why the BlackRock representative is saying, like, you know what? Like, yeah, like, I think it's undervalued based on the fundamentals, based on what's going on around. Like the fact that the United States government is putting a rubber stamp of approval, I think is a big effing deal. Sophie, thoughts?
Well, I think that Bitcoin always does the opposite of what people think, and that's why we're in this predicament now.
Yes.
I am not sure if the cycles are over. I think that's certainly a good hypothesis, and one that Bitcoiners could work with, because we plan on being on a Bitcoin standard and for hyper Bitcoinization to be the thing. And in order for that to happen, I think that the price does need to stabilize a little bit, and it needs to kind of be consistent for a longer period of time. However, one of the things that hasn't started yet is the government hasn't yet bought Bitcoin. And I think that as soon as that starts happening, and the Department of Government Efficiency starts moving some of the unused or wasted funds from fiat to Bitcoin, I think that's when we're going to start seeing a little bit of the price action happen. But in reality, we just don't know. And anybody who tells you they do know, they're lying to you. And Bitcoin really, it's the meme, honey badger don't care. It's going to do whatever it wants. And whatever we predict, us, mortal humans, is likely not what's going to happen. And, as Elon likes to say, the most absurd outcome is likely the one to happen. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see exactly how the market kind of adapts also to the adoption of Bitcoin, because this is the first time where so many Bitcoin products have been available on the traditional market. So I think everybody is kind of like adapting to the idea that Bitcoin is here to stay, and with that, we will just have to wait and see.
Yep. Let's see what happens. I'm extremely optimistic. I think the cycles might be extended. I still think we're going to have a great 2025. I think Bitcoin's going to surprise everybody. The general sentiment is just overly bearish. Like if you see the greed and fear index, it's like all the way to the fear side of things. Like people are just scared. I think also the Trump presidency coming in, creating uncertainty in the markets, that definitely has a role to play for sure. So anyhow, none of this matters if you have low time preference, if you stay humble, stack sats, and you have an opportunity to stack Bitcoin under 100K. And I think a lot of people would have loved to have that opportunity. Anyways, guys, we're going to move on to news. We have tons to cover today. We'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Casa. Bitcoin security matters, but managing private keys can sometimes be complicated, especially multi-sig. What if you can secure your Bitcoin without worrying about losing a seed phrase or giving up custody? With Casa, you can completely control your Bitcoin with multi-key security, so even if one key is lost or stolen, your funds stay safe. No single point of failure, no stress. That's what I absolutely love about these guys. They make taking Bitcoin into self-custody incredibly easy with their best in industry user experience through their app. I've been personally recommending Casa for years now to my friends and family because they will get all the benefits of multi-key self-custody security without the hassle of having to learn complicated UI. And if you're thinking of one day passing on your Bitcoin to the next generation, their inheritance plan has you covered. Also, if you're a business looking to add Bitcoin to your treasury, do it the secure way with Casa for Business. To get started, go to casa.io today and get 5% off Casa Standard or Casa Premium with promo code SIMPLY. Need liquidity without having to sell your Bitcoin? For more than 6 years now, Ledn has been the trusted choice for Bitcoin-backed lending with transparency, security, and trust at their core. I absolutely love these guys, and I personally have not only an account with them, but also a loan. And some of the key features that I love about Ledn is the fact that there are no monthly payments. You pay at the end of the term. You also have the ability to roll over the loan as well, and you can pay it back whenever you want. Essentially what they do is that they help their clients unlock the liquidity of their BTC, allowing you to HODL while still accessing the wealth of your Bitcoin. They've been battle tested with their focus on transparency, security, and trust, allowing them to build a proven track record of client success and security, helping tens of thousands of clients harness the value of their digital assets with confidence and peace of mind. Learn more about what your BTC can do for you. Check out ledn.io today.
Anyways, let's get to today's news. I mean, this is the game theory playing out. We read you guys an article coming out of Russia. Russia leans on cryptocurrencies for oil trade. We read you guys here the key points. A crypto, small but growing part of Russia's $192 billion oil trade. Crypto used to smooth conversions of yuan and rupees to rubles. Russia oil companies have used Tether, Bitcoin, and Ether, sources say. So more news coming out. Bolivia turns to crypto for energy imports amid dollar and fuel shortages. Goes on to say Bolivia's state energy firm YPFB will use cryptocurrency to pay for energy imports amid a painful shortage of dollars and fuel in the landlocked South African nation. A company spokesperson and government official told Reuters on Wednesday the country is battling a dangerous slide in foreign currency reserves after years. Oh, it seems like Dylan. Let me bring up Dylan. There we go. after years of dwindling exports of natural gas, which has sparked off a fuel crisis in the country with regular long lines at gas stations and scattered protests. A spokesperson for a state-run energy firm, YPFB, told Reuters that a system has been put in place to use cryptocurrency to purchase fuel imports after a government approval to use digital assets to help meet demand. Quote, from now on, these cryptocurrency transactions will be carried out. A government spokesperson said that YPFB had not yet made use of digital currency to purchase energy imports, but that it was planned to do so. Bolivia, for decades, a net energy exporter due to its large reserves of gas, has become reliant on imports as domestic gas production has dwindled amid a lack of major new finds. So again, you have another indication. I didn't specify exactly what cryptocurrencies are going to use, but I mean, there really only is a good one to use if you want to facilitate international trade. Of course, that is Bitcoin. That's not me just theorizing that. That's, proof is in the pudding. The news coming out of Russia, same publisher saying the same thing. And again, they can use Tether and they can use Ether, but if they want something that is fully decentralized, meaning it can't be co-opted by another nation state to potentially censor transactions, they want to use something that can't be co-opted. And of course, the only thing that exists is Bitcoin because it's the only thing that is truly decentralized. So anyways, I'm going to pass it on to Tyler. Tyler, what are your thoughts on this, man? Very interesting. I mean, this is the game theory playing out right in front of our faces. Not surprising at all whatsoever, but what are your thoughts?
I have an interesting take on this. So Bitcoin is energy money, right? It takes energy to get it. It's proof of work. And so if you're a small country with natural resources like this one that you just outlined, but they're running out of natural gas, you better hope that you got a lot of that energy money before you run out of those resources, because then you're going to have to use that energy money to trade it for actual energy. And that's what you see here in this article, right? They're trading energy money for energy because they're out of energy. So I would say that's a call to action for any country that knows that they have limited natural resources. Convert that into a digital representation of the energy used to accrue that value, and then use it to set yourself up best for the future. And it just showcases, right, that the people that, all these countries that are fighting about currencies, things like that, if you just have your own natural resources, be it hydroelectric, volcanic energy, right, geothermal, like you see in El Salvador, you don't need someone's permission to go set up a currency. Oh, I need to get the euro and become part of the EU or BRICS or whatever it is. There is a neutral and ethical digital currency out there called Bitcoin. And if you have energy and resources and a productive society, you can convert that into currency that can be used to trade and facilitate commerce. It's very fascinating to see. I look forward to the day when, a barrel of oil is priced in Bitcoin. That'll be a really good one.
I think it's going to happen sooner than later, man. I think it's an inevitability that it's going to happen. Anyways, Dylan, what's your take on this? Will oil be priced in Bitcoin?
I mean, absolutely. I think that's an inevitability. This is just one more step down that road. I mean, eventually, with that first article you were showing with Russia using it to smooth out conversions between yuan and rubles, like, why just cut out the middleman? Just use the asset for what it is. But like, it's awesome to see it. But also, I love the dichotomy of, I know Forex exchange and everything, but I love the dichotomy of we're running out of dollars, even though we're printing dollars left and right. So it's just kind of funny to see that transposed side by side. But I mean, I'm really excited. I do think energy will eventually be priced in Bitcoin.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think everything will be priced in Bitcoin eventually. Anyway, Sophie, I'm going to pass it on to you. Do you have any thoughts regarding this news? I mean, I feel like it's the game theory playing out in real time. Not surprising at all if you understand Bitcoin's incentives.
Yeah, I don't think this is about running out of dollars at all. I think this is really just about using a better currency. And I mean, that's kind of what it boils down to. And I can't wait for the rest of South America to adopt Bitcoin and to use this as their medium of exchange. I think actually this is a great way for all countries to trade. Why should we be pricing things in dollars when the dollar is losing value year after year? Why can't we trade in a currency that actually increases in value over time? I think, eventually all roads are going to lead to the adoption of Bitcoin. I think it's just common sense. And it's not just going to be gas, it's going to be our food, it's going to be everything that we trade around the world. It will be priced in Bitcoin eventually, or at least that's the theory.
100%. I 100% agree with that. And I think it's an inevitability. I think what's interesting too, and I kind of want to open up the floor to this discussion too, is what we've been seeing in developing countries is really like the mass adoption of stablecoins, specifically Tether, USDT. I believe it's a stepping stone. I believe Tether is a Trojan horse to Bitcoin. I think the initial theory from a lot of Bitcoiners was that Bitcoin was going to be the one that was going to be mass adopted, specifically in countries that have stable fiat currencies. But that doesn't seem to have played out that way. It seems like something played out in a much different fashion, which is mass stablecoin adoption. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think once you get exposure to stablecoins, it gives you exposure to digital wallets, and you're just one stepping stone away from downloading a Bitcoin wallet. And I think also something to keep in mind as well is that in developing countries, people are like trying to survive, right? And unfortunately with Bitcoin, I mean, not unfortunately, I love the volatility. Volatility's life, right? But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have the luxury, the financial privilege of being able to shoulder that volatility, because it might work to your favor 1 month or 2 months, but 1 month you might be 25% down, and you can't afford 25% down. You being 25% down on your salary that month is the difference between you being able to put food on the table or you not being able to put food on the table. So it makes total sense why this is happening. But I think once people get exposure to digital wallets, when people get the taste of being able to send money seamlessly without having to ask the government or a bank for permission, I think all roads inevitably lead to Bitcoin. So I'm going to open it up to you, Tyler. Tyler, what are your thoughts on a lot of stablecoin usage, specifically in developing countries?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think volatility is part of it, like you outlined, and then also name recognition. Remember, Bitcoin doesn't have any marketing department. The US dollar, that name carries some weight. And I think these people that are in these countries with even worse fiat currencies than the US dollar, they're just focused on solving that immediate problem, which is maybe my paycheck is worth 25% less this month compared to last. And they don't need to understand the same issues underlie the US dollar as well. They're just focused on what's right in front of them, and as would anyone that would be in that situation. So I think that's a lot of the reason why stablecoins seem like just the next step alternative, the solution for their immediate problems at hand. Even though we know that Bitcoin's kind of the ultimate solution, I agree with you. It's kind of a stepping stone.
What's your take on this, Dylan?
I mean, so I think it was in the news this last week. I think it was Argentina, but I forget. Like the bank, if you were a citizen holding dollars in the bank, they just cashed out your dollars and gave you a discounted rate on whatever their currency is. And it's like, so obviously the government wants dollars. So if I can get this less censorable version of dollars, then I want to do it, but in a way that the government can't just rug me on it. So that, I think, adds to the demand for stablecoins. And like you said, as people get more exposure to digital wallets, then they see, oh, look at Bitcoin over here. But like Bitcoin is a saving technology, in my opinion. And if you don't have the ability to save first and foremost, like you're probably not going to look into Bitcoin. You want to save in something that can't be taken, can't be devalued. I mean, I know the dollar, but relative to other South American currencies, I totally get it. But like you said, it's just a stepping stone into getting into Bitcoin.
100%. 100%. Anyways, I do want to give a shout out to the live stream. Almost 2,000 of you guys watching live on X and 180 of you guys watching live on Rumble. Appreciate the audience from, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty with YouTube earlier on today. Unfortunately, we aren't able to live stream to YouTube today, but we are live streaming on X and Rumble. And we will be reposting the entire episode later today on YouTube. So if you guys are enjoying the show so far, make sure to smash that like button and consider subscribing if you guys are enjoying the show. Anyways, guys, we're going to move on to the culture segment, and we're going to be talking to Tyler and Dylan about what they are working on in Denver. It's called the Denver Space, Denver's Bitcoin Citadel. The Space is a member-run, operated Bitcoin community. So we're going to be doing a deep dive into their project, what they're working on, and if you live in Denver, potentially how you can get involved yourself. All right, everybody, we will be right back. We're going to hit the culture segment. I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technologies. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's positioned to quadruple their global footprint in 2025. And as the first with an AI strategy, HIVE continues to make moves in sustainable, high-performance computing. They consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, and now they're headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're changing the game. You can catch the latest buzz by following them at HIVE Digital Tech or check out their website at hivedigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, CoinKite. If you take your Bitcoin security seriously, you'll need the best Bitcoin hardware wallet on the market to take self-custody. That's where Cold Card comes in. The Cold Card Q is the most advanced Bitcoin signing device ever made. It's got a full keyboard, larger screen, and NFC support, making air-gap signing easier than ever. It's built for power users who want the ultimate security without sacrificing usability. And if you're looking for a battle-tested, uncompromising cold storage, the Cold Card MK4 is your go-to with PSPT signing, an industrial-grade secure element, and USB-C. It's the perfect blend of security and convenience. Both devices are, of course, 100% Bitcoin only, open source, and built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. Secure your Bitcoin the right way with the Cold Card Q and the MK4. Head over to coldcard.com today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 5% off anything on the store. All right, everybody. So let's talk about Denver's Bitcoin Citadel, the Space. I'm going to pass it on to you, Tyler. Tyler, what is this? Why should people care? What am I looking at? Denver's own Bitcoin Citadel. Tyler.
Yeah, so the Space is a Bitcoin hub here in the Rocky Mountain Front Range. We do co-working during the day, educational events every Thursday, member exclusive events and benefits. The whole it's this physical hub, right? This Citadel, very much akin to Bitcoin Park, the Commons in Austin, PubKey. There's now Presidio out in San Francisco. There's a handful of other ones popping up around the world, and it's exciting to see. And we had that same idea that has been done before, which is essentially Bitcoin communities, in-person physical connections and relationship building help advance the industry, help build companies, build relationships, accelerate adoption. And it's really just something we're all passionate about. And so we have been working on this for the better part of 2 years now. We have only been open in that location for around 6 months. And so it's really exciting to see. We called it the Space. There's a whole story behind that too. Kind of confuses people when they say, what do you do in the space, like the industry? And we stuck with that as a little marketing ploy, but it's been really fun.
Absolutely. I mean, dude, it's so cool what you guys are doing. I'm a big fan of Bitcoin Park, and I'm glad that this Bitcoin spaces are popping up all over the world, all over the US. So this is really cool what you guys are doing. Sophie, do you have something?
Yeah. I feel like these are going to be like the new country clubs. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
before people would sign up for like, you know, going to play tennis or golf or whatever. Like now people are just going to like congregate and talk about Bitcoin and like maybe go for a hike or, you know, do sauna or banya or like cold plunge therapy. And that's going to be like the new recreational thing while talking about Bitcoin.
100%. I 100% agree with that. Anyways, Dylan, what's your take on this, man? So you joined Tyler on building this out. I do want to show a picture of the space because it looks absolutely awesome. That outside space, you know, it's really, really cool. So, Dylan.
Yeah, and also with that picture, we just added some string lights, so we'll be hanging out spring and summertime, and having some drinks, kicking out back there. But like the space is awesome. We have a pretty good Bitcoin crowd in Denver, and we would meet monthly at like a Bitcoin and beer at a brewery or BitDevs, and then a bunch of us started talking like, hey, we want to do this more often. And so we hustled, and I mean, like Tyler likes to say, we sold vaporware for like a year, but we convinced people to start giving us money, and eventually we were able to afford a building, and now we're just growing, expanding. Like you said, we have events all the time. We try to be open source and as transparent as possible. We're member run, member elected, but it's just a lot of fun. Like it's changed my life to have this community and exposure to people like this in Denver. Like I knew there were Bitcoiners, but a lot have come out of the woodwork excited that we have a community space to hang out at.
That's the coolest thing, Nico. Sorry if I could just pick it up here. Is we didn't have like a company to help us with this, nor did any one of us individually have the resources to go out and buy a building and do this. And so it literally was, there were consistently 30 to 50 people at BitDevs. We had a meeting in the August of 2023 timeline about, okay, how do we turn this into a building? We ultimately decided on a governance structure for a member-run kind of country club thing, like Sophie said, but we had no building. So that's why Dylan said it was vaporware. And we essentially tricked up to 50 people to pay monthly dues to build a treasury and 4 Bitcoin companies to help donate to that treasury, just so we could build up, a little bit of sats until we had enough to approach a landlord and say, hey, we can rent this venue. And come October 1st of 2024, we pulled that off. We had 50 founding members. These are folks who donated to that treasury before we had anything to offer. We were doing camping trips. We were doing hikes. We were going to baseball games and going to beers and dinners and getting to know each other's family and friends. It was awesome. But now we have that location where we congregate around. We do all that stuff. We had yoga on Sunday. And then we have really in the weeds technical deep dives of BitDevs. And then we've got novice stuff. So it's just awesome to have this place that you can call home where you can do so many different things.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
No, I love the yoga. I mean, I'm a practicing yogi myself, and I love the whole being able to incorporate the Bitcoin culture in real life, because so much of it exists only online that when you actually connect with people in real life, it just takes it such a step further, and you make what you talk about online like real, and you have those real life connections just different.
Yeah, so if people want to sign up, like if people want to find out more about the space in Denver, where should they go? What's the website?
So denver.space is our website, and there's a tab for membership on there, and you can apply through there. The board votes on your membership after review, and then you're a member once you start paying dues.
That's awesome. And what does that give you? What does that give you access to?
So we have 2 tiers right now, with a third coming soon to be announced. But so the first tier is our social membership, and that just gives you access to all of our events, swag, discounted ticketed events, various online resources. And then we have the co-working tier, which gives you, you also get like some co-working passes with the social. In the co-working tier, you get full 24/7 access, drop in whenever you want. And then we are working on private offices and such with additional benefits.
Very cool. And then you guys, I'm assuming you guys are going to start announcing events and spaces. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we do a bunch of events. We just had
If you go to the event tab, Nico, and then just click on the public event calendar from the drop down.
Yeah, we had a Heat Punk Summit a couple weeks ago, immediately followed by ETH Denver, which is, unfortunately, there's a bunch of meth heads here in Denver. But you know, we hosted Bitcoin only events, and like Sophie, like what you were saying was funny. I saw some interactions of guys who had only talked to each other online, and they're not using their NIMs in person, and so they're discussing some issues. Like, oh, I was just talking to this guy on Twitter about this, and then they pull up the thread, and they're like, that's me. Like, so.
And it's also so important, like Bitcoin isn't an easy thing to get into. And lots of times, like when you're looking at resources online or you're talking to people online, it's not really like the best way to learn something. So just the fact that you're in a space where you can talk to other people and actually like say, hey, like I'm having a hard time with self-custody. Like, do you think that you could like teach me a thing or two? Or like, why am I, you know, how do I troubleshoot this here or there? It's so cool to be able to like actually connect with someone on that level and ask for help versus like always just like going to the blue screen.
And it's been helpful for accelerating adoption with new individuals and companies as well. So this is like an initiative some of our members started just because they got together and planned this out. Is they've literally been going to all the restaurants in the neighborhood and giving personal envelopes with invitations to come over on a set date and time. And we onboard those businesses to accept Bitcoin. We teach them about Bitcoin. They can drop in anytime they have questions. And so that is really only possible when you have something to point to. It's so much harder to say, hey, listen to these 10 podcasts, read these 10 books, and then let's set up a call. Like, no one's gonna
has anyone started dating yet from because I know that's something that a lot of Bitcoiners are also interested in, is just like meeting people that might be their forever partner and are also interested in Bitcoin.
Potentially.
Ooh,
I don't know how much I should say, but potentially. Yeah, we do have some lady members. We got ladies' night with like a good 10 to 20 gals that come.
That's important. That's very important. Definitely, like we need to get more women to join these spaces so that the men come.
That's impressive. 10 gals. Wow. That's a. Are they real?
Shout out to DJ Valerie Bilo. She hosts that with my fiance Rachel, and you know, she's very tapped into the women in Bitcoin ecosystem, which is awesome to have. Yeah, but we do have. It is actually just astounding that Denver has so many Bitcoiners. You know, we have 81 members. We have 210 slots, so we are still looking for members. Some are supporting from afar, but I'd say that, Dylan, maybe a good 70% are local.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's exciting to see.
Man, that's incredibly awesome, dude.
You guys have a cannabis sommelier or some type of event since it's legal. Yeah, since it's legal over there. I mean, you can make it interesting, make it fun.
We had a dispensary offer to make us a space strain of
That's
weed.
super cool. That's super cool.
That's awesome. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Guys, go to denver.space. I'm going to put up the URL on the screen right now. Go to denver.space and you can find out more about Denver's own Bitcoin Citadel. You can become a member. Go check them out today. And I do want to thank these two gentlemen from the space, Tyler and Dylan, for joining us on Simply Bitcoin Live today. Anyways, guys, if you guys enjoyed today's show, appreciate it if you'd smash the like button. Consider subscribing if you feel like we provided you value. Forgive us for the technical difficulties. Our streaming software rugged us right before we were about to go on air. But luckily, we were still able to go live on Rumble and X. And again, the YouTube video will be out later today. Anyways, guys, love you all. We'll see you tomorrow for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin Live.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.